He crawls headfirst into a hole barely wider than his shoulders. There's no rope, no partner within arm's reach, no easy way to turn around. The entrance, it lies. From the outside, it looks manageable, flat, straight, just tight enough to demand respect, not fear. But inside, the ceiling drops, the walls close in, his chest scrapes against limestone, polished smooth by centuries of flowing water. This is a place where a single panicked gasp could be the difference between moving forward and becoming a permanent part of the geology. And yet, the text tells us this is familiar territory. He's done squeezes before. This isn't a moment of terror, it's a test of mastery. For extreme cavers, the mind is the most critical piece of equipment. Long before they enter the earth, they train it. They practice controlled breathing, not just for oxygen, but to physically make their bodies smaller, exhaling to shrink the chest cavity by that crucial half-inch. They learn to reframe their thoughts, to consciously push out the primal fear of being crushed, of being trapped in the dark. It's a form of active meditation where the mantra is simple: forward. They turn the terrifying reality of confinement into a manageable series of tasks: shift the left shoulder, push with the right toe, breathe out, slide. But the description, no rope, no partner, that's where this crosses from extreme sport into something else entirely. Caving safety is built on a simple rule: never go alone. A team provides a physical and psychological safety net. They can guide you, help if you get stuck, and go for help if the worst happens. To go alone is to accept that there is no margin for error. One wrong move, one moment of exhaustion, one rock shifting a fraction of an inch, and the squeeze becomes a trap. The history of caving is written with cautionary tales. People have become wedged in passages just like this one, upside down, with rescuers unable to reach them. The immense pressure on the body, the slow onset of hypothermia in the cold, damp dark. The outcome is unforgiving. Every inch gained is a gamble against absolute finality. So we return to him, scraping his way through the limestone. The final line is the key to his survival: no panic. This isn't just a lack of fear, it is a profound state of focus, a deliberate silencing of every instinct that screams to thrash, to struggle, to flee. In that hole, the outside world ceases to exist. There is no past, no future. There is only the texture of the rock against his skin, the rhythm of his own heart, and the single all-consuming task of the next movement. It's a place beyond fear, a quiet, tight, personal space where the only thing that matters is the next controlled breath and the inch of progress it buys him through the body of the earth.
The tunnel slopes downward. It's just enough for gravity to stop being a force to fight and become a reluctant partner, helping him slide forward. This isn't walking or even crawling. It's a surrender to the passage, a grim negotiation with the earth itself. Elbows pull, scraping against grit and cold, damp stone, trying to find purchase where there is none. Knees drag, the fabric of his pants long shredded, the skin beneath raw and screaming with every inch gained. It's a rhythm of painful progress. A dull thud. His helmet bumps stone, a hard plastic shell just inches above his skull. It's a constant rhythmic reminder of how close the world has become, how small his space is. This is the essence of a squeeze, a physical test, but more so, a psychological siege. The rock itself seems to press in, stealing air not from the lungs, but from the mind, a claustrophobic tightening that precedes true panic. The fear is not of the space, but of what might happen within it, the inability to breathe, the absolute restriction of movement. And here, that fear is the only thing that's real. Then the floor disappears. It doesn't slope away, it doesn't crumble, it's just gone. Not gradually, not with warning. The passage kinks hard, a geological sentence punctuated with a vertical drop carved at a sharp right angle. It's a textbook L-shaped trap, a feature spoken about in hushed, cautionary tones by experienced cavers, a configuration that has sealed fates before. In places like the infamous Nutty Putty Cave, a similar cruelly tight geometry turned an exploration into an irreversible tragedy. The design is one of brutal geological simplicity. The downward slope encourages a forward head-first momentum. It coaxes you in, promising progress, and then it takes the ground from under you, turning a controlled slide into an uncontrolled commitment. All the training, all the preparation in the world focuses on avoiding this exact moment, the instant where the map in your head is violently torn up by the reality crushing your body, the moment where gravity turns from an ally into an executioner. His head dips first, pulled by the simple, unforgiving physics of his own weight. His shoulders follow, trying to fit through a space never meant for them. The stone forces his torso to rotate, a grinding, painful contortion. His body is no longer a tool he controls. It's a key being forced into the wrong lock. At this point, the commitment is total. The point of no return has been passed. Backing out now would mean defying gravity. It would require a full body reversal, a complex physical feat that demands space, the one single thing this tunnel has taken from him. There isn't room. Cavers who become permanently trapped often describe this precise, horrifying realization. The path back is physically more difficult, or simply impossible. The angles are wrong. The leverage is gone. The mind screams to retreat, but the body is held fast. Panic becomes a physical presence now, more dangerous than falling, more insidious than the dark. It's a venom that constricts the chest, making you feel like you're suffocating, even when there's air to breathe. He has to fight it. Fight the tunnel vision that threatens to narrow his world to nothing but the rock in front of his face. Every human instinct tells him to go back, but there is no back. The cave has made the decision for him. He goes forward. Those 3 words are not a declaration of courage. They are an admission of reality, a surrender to the only possible vector. In caving, the cardinal rule is never to go alone. Another is to have a call-out, someone on the surface who knows your plan and when to sound the alarm. All the equipment, the ropes, the ascenders, the harnesses are tools designed to maintain control in an uncontrollable environment. But here, there is no team. There is no control. There is only the singular, terrifying path ahead. He commits his weight fully to the turn, sliding into the vertical darkness. He goes forward because the earth itself has left him no other choice. He goes forward into whatever comes next.
His chest clears the corner, a small, deceptive victory. His ribs compress, scraping along rough limestone. His stomach slides into the bend. He can feel the turn, the passage plunging downward into the dark. Then his hips stop, hard. The impact is absolute, a full stop against the planet itself. The cave doesn't flex. It has existed for millennia. His body does. He tries to rationalize, to problem solve like he's been trained. He pushes forward, a surge of adrenaline and hope. Nothing moves. The rock holds him firm. He tries to pull back, to reverse the mistake, to undo the last few seconds. But there's no leverage. His legs are trapped behind him in the horizontal section, bent awkwardly upward at the knees. His torso is now vertical, face down, his cheek pressed into the unfeeling, damp cold of the stone. At his waist, his body is twisted a full 90 degrees. He is locked into a geometry that was never meant for flesh and bone, a geometry that allows for no movement, not forward, not backward, not at all. This is the moment when the animal brain, the deep, ancient instinct finally overtakes the conscious mind. It screams a single, silent message. Something is wrong. He forces a slow exhale, the air hissing from his lungs, fighting the urge to gasp. He tells himself this is just another squeeze, a puzzle to be solved with patience, that technique will solve it. He tries a small, calculated movement,
a subtle shift of the hips, trying to find a new angle. But the cave responds instantly, tightening its grip like a fist. Rock presses into bone, bone presses into muscle, and the muscle, with nowhere left to go, radiates a deep, burning ache. He tries again, this time with more force, a grunt of effort echoing in the tight space. A flash of white-hot agony shoots through his lower back as his spine torques against the corner. The angle is unnatural, dangerous. He freezes. The experiment is over. Moving is no longer an option. Now, breathing becomes the problem. A simple automatic function becomes a conscious, desperate battle. Each inhale requires his ribcage to expand outward, but the stone refuses to yield. It holds him in a vice, a solid wall on all sides. His breaths become shorter, shallow, incomplete. He can feel the carbon dioxide begin to build, a fog creeping into his blood, a pressure behind his eyes. His heart rate climbs to compensate, hammering against his ribs, trying to force oxygen to his starving muscles. But the harder his heart beats, the more oxygen his body demands. And the more oxygen he needs, the harder it is to breathe. The feedback loop tightens, a death spiral of biology. Panic begins, not as a thought, not as an emotion, but as a chemical reaction. Adrenaline floods his system. His muscles tense instinctively, clenching hard against the rock, the exact opposite of what he needs to do. It's a punishment for his own survival instinct. He tells himself not to thrash. Thrashing would only wedge him tighter, turning the trap into a tomb. Minutes pass, or maybe it's just 1 minute, stretched into an eternity by the frantic beating of his own heart. Sweat forms instantly, soaking his clothing. In the open air, sweat is a cooling mechanism, a gift. Here, it only makes him slick against the stone, a useless lubricant in a motionless world. He summons all his focus, a pinprick of light in the overwhelming dark, and tries to reposition one knee. It doesn't move. He tries the other. Nothing. His arms are pinned forward, useless extensions of his torso, fingers brushing against cold rock he can never push. He can't push. He can't pull. He thinks of the way back, but the passage behind him is a memory, a narrowing channel too tight to allow for backward crawling. He thinks of the way forward, but the passage below him drops just far enough to deny any footing, any purchase. He hangs in the dark, a human key broken off in a lock made of stone. He is suspended between directions.
Blood begins pooling toward his chest and head. The partial inversion creates a painful pressure that builds behind his eyes, making his face feel swollen and tight. Down here, time stretches and loses all meaning. Without the sun, without any visual change, minutes become impossible to track. His headlamp illuminates the same few inches of cold, unchanging stone it has for hours. He shouts. The sound is swallowed by the rock, dying instantly at the bend just beyond his head. There is no echo, no feedback. He tries again, louder this time, forcing the air from his compressed lungs. Nothing returns. The realization settles in not with a crash, but with a quiet, cold certainty. If no one comes, this is where he stays. His breathing is getting worse. As carbon dioxide rises in the tiny pocket of air, his brain misinterprets the signal. It doesn't read it as poison, it reads it as air starvation, triggering stronger and stronger waves of panic. He has to fight the primal urge to gulp for air, knowing that would only exhaust him faster. Sharp cramps begin to seize his thighs, muscles locked in sustained tension. His lower back burns. Every few minutes, he tests for movement, a hopeful shift, a tiny push, and every test fails. Above ground, the sun moves across the sky. Hours pass. His vehicle sits empty in the parking lot. No movement, no sign of return. Finally, someone notices.
Park staff recognize the risk immediately. This particular cave is known for its tight geometry, for traps that don't look dangerous until it's far too late. Rescuers enter with a sense of urgency, but also with deep restraint. Moving too fast underground simply creates new victims. They begin to call out his name. Deep inside the system, a sound penetrates the silence. He hears it. Hope spikes so violently it's like a physical blow. The surge of adrenaline costs him energy he can't spare, and his breathing destabilizes again. He tries to respond, to shout back, but his voice cracks as his lungs fail to draw a full breath. The rescuers follow the faint sound. They reach the narrow horizontal tunnel and shine a powerful light inside. What they see makes them stop cold. Legs bent upward toward the ceiling, motionless. The rest of him is gone, twisted around an invisible corner. They understand instantly this isn't a strength problem, it's a body problem. Pulling him would break his bones, pushing him would crush his organs. The angle of his spine is already close to catastrophic. One by one, they crawl into the tight space, working blind. Their hands become their eyes, assessing pressure points, the placement of his hips, the angle of his knees. Every single move risks permanent spinal damage or a cardiac collapse from a sudden shift in circulation. They speak to him calmly, their voices a steady presence in the dark, even as their own bodies cramp in the tight confines. Hours pass in inches. They free one knee by rotating it millimeter by millimeter. Pain surges through him as blood rushes back into the limb. They pause, letting his body stabilize. Then they free the second knee. His legs are finally aligned with his torso. Now the spine. This is the most dangerous part. One wrong rotation and vertebrae could shear. They guide him backward, meticulously reversing the exact sequence that trapped him. It is slow, controlled, agonizing. Finally, his torso clears the corner. The pressure releases all at once. He gasps uncontrollably as his lungs expand fully for the first time in what feels like a lifetime. His muscles shake violently. When they pull him into a wider chamber, he can't stand. His nervous system is completely overwhelmed. He survives, barely. The cave remains unchanged. The passage doesn't collapse. The trap stays perfect. Stone doesn't care how experienced you are. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't forgive misjudgment. It waits.